You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I am your host, Jeremiah Morrill, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, the esteemed Dakota Davis.
I am over here on your left, Jeremiah.
On my left, indeed. And on my far left, we have Chase Payton, returning co-host on the sports desk.
What up?
Welcome back. And our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episodes are going to be fun and an easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks that we just find interesting. On my right is Paul Fabrick, a guy that we definitely find interesting, and the biggest booming voice we've ever had in the studio. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
So Paul is the voice of the Bob and Tom show. You hear a little bit of work over there. If you've ever bought a car in rural America, you probably heard his voice selling cars on a commercial here and there.
Yeah.
All kinds of radio stuff, plenty of commercials, and the UFC.
UFC.
Some sort of a wrestling deal.
Yeah. Kind of wrestling deal.
Yeah.
Like to roll around on the mat.
So, and probably you do some video game stuff too, right? I mean, just all over the place.
Yeah, video game voices. A lot of apps. But, by far, Bob and Tom and UFC are my two biggest clients.
The big time.
Yeah. So what, have you done video games? Like, do you do, like a lot of them, or?
Not a lot of them.
And what
a lot of Minecraft, I'm sure.
Probably. Yeah, just a lot of apps. I mean, my gosh, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a new game on an app. So I do a lot of sounds and noises and things like that. But
like, whenever it comes to video games, are you voicing characters? Are you doing the commercials?
Yeah, both actually. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
The biggest, the Adventures of Van Helsing. I was in 2, 3 plus the add-on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool. So we'll catch up with Paul along the way. The way these shows normally work is it's kind of conversational. Catch up on what's been happening for the crew here. We'll check in with Chase over on the sports desk. We've got the Super Bowl coming up. We're going to talk to Paul, and then we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into a couple of things with the government. The government was shut down. Thankfully, it's back running now, I guess, or maybe we're not thankful for that. And then I visited the Indiana Statehouse this week, so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that.
To quote Mr. Rex Bell, government shutdown of 2018. We barely knew you.
Yeah, it was definitely less than we had the last time.
Yeah,
they're getting too good at cobbling it back together.
Maybe we should. We can still remain hopeful for February the 8th. I mean, that's always a possibility.
That could come falling apart again.
That's correct.
So while the government was shut down, I took some time over the weekend.
Yeah, things are getting pretty serious with you. I mean, it seems like you're going to go through with this whole wedding business now.
Yeah, there have been deposits made on a lot of things. We're not getting those back. We're definitely going to follow through now. So we went wedding band shopping. Didn't actually buy anything, but Chase, I'm going to give you advice now. Okay. We were going to go to like 1 or 2 department stores, and we went to the Muncie Mall. We went to 4 department stores and 3 jewelry stores, and I looked at the clock and it was only like 2.5 hours, but it felt like 9. I had no idea how taxing it was going to be.
Okay. Audrey and I went and got our wedding bands on Black Friday.
Did you wait in line for a doorbuster wedding band?
No, it really wasn't. Like, there was nobody in there. We went to the local Macy's. And just walked in there, walked right up to the counter, found the ones that we wanted, and that was that. I mean, it was super simple.
You were done in no time.
But I will say, another piece of information and a tip for Mr. Chase Payton. I have only worn my wedding band that I bought at Macy's one time. It is a tungsten ring. It's very nice. But I ended up going to Quelo.com and buying a silicone wedding band. It is dielectric. It has a 25-pound brake limit, so if your finger ever gets caught in it, then it's not going to rip the skin off your finger. And it is super lightweight, and I barely even know it's there. Plus, it's
only the ladies notice it when they're trying to pick them up.
It also kind of doubles as a fidget spinner because they just sit here and like squish it constantly.
See, this is scary because Katie started bringing up wedding stuff today, and like we're not even engaged. Like I was just like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it took this long, to be honest with you.
She was like, so if we get married, when would you want to get married throughout the year?
So she could start depositing, getting some venues ready for you.
How much do you think it'll cost?
Do you know what the best answer for that is? Whenever you want to, baby.
I just said whenever would be best for the honeymoon.
Well, here's the thing. We went looking through all these stores, and there are things that were revealed to me that I never thought would be a problem or a thought in my life. We went to the K Jewelers, and you sit down, and they're, oh my God, let me see the ring, and they want to clean it, so they've got your ring, so you're not walking out, so they're cleaning your fiance's ring, and you're sitting there talking, and they start to try to get you in their system. They're like, have you ever bought anything here before? Yeah, I've bought something at K Jewelers before. What? Sarah looks at me, and she knows she hasn't received anything from K Jeweler before.
Snap.
And I'm thinking, oh dear God, there are so many ways this could go terribly wrong for a guy. Because I'm thinking they're going to look me up in the system. They're going to be like, oh, that necklace you bought back in 2008. How's that working out for you?
And you, of course, would just respond with, well, it was a Mother's Day gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So you're like, oh my God, there are so many ways this would be fraught with trouble. If you're a guy that like has other girls, I'm not smart enough to have known this or to have thought of this, but then as you look back on it, you're like, well, you can only go to Kay for one person, and then you got to go to go to Jared for the next one, and that because you don't want to have them cross-reference.
Oh, I mean, and we don't want to exclude our local jewelers here in town, Edwards Jewelers.
Absolutely,
Smith's Jewelers.
There's a lot of options. We were going up just simply to do the department store thing, and I don't think we've made. Like I said, we haven't made a final decision yet, so we've still got more shopping around to do. But there was. It just brought up like a whole list of horrors that you could get yourself into.
It opened up a can of worms that you didn't even know existed.
I didn't know existed. But there's you don't want. It's one of those places where you almost want to go in and be anonymous because you don't want them to check back in on you. That's like flower places that mail you cards reminding you of somebody's birthday.
Uh-huh. So I guess that you should always use a fake name and a stolen credit card.
That's true. Yeah.
Is that okay?
I'll give yours back after I'm done with it. So that was Sunday. Saturday night we went. Dakota and I, literally, my Sarah and cousin Francis, we were going to go out and said, hey, we're going to go out to Montgomery's or whatever. And I shot Dakota a message and said, hey, there's a band playing at Montgomery's. We're going to go down there. And he texted me back and said, we're already there.
Yep, we were already there.
Where was my invite? It's the first thing I needed to know.
Hey, my invite came from my parents, so you're going to have to take that up with them.
I've got about a probably 12-line text back and forth from your dad. He said, hey, we're going to have 4 people. And then he was like, no, I'm sorry, it's 8. No, it's going to be 6. Now there's 9. Now there's 12. Like, just come on out, guys. We'll take care of it.
Come on down.
And then I think that he ended up ending the conversation after he found out how many people were going, and you had already reserved the tables.
Yeah.
Actually, there's only going to be the 2 of us.
Yeah. And I go, what? And he goes, LOL, just kidding.
Well, we showed up and just kind of stood by them and stood by the bar and watched the band. It worked out great for us. But and then when Dakota and Audrey left, we just took their seats and hung out with his parents the rest of the night. Paul kept the drinks coming, and it was a good time. So, yeah, I was amazed at the crowd you guys get. The other day job for you is you're with Montgomery Steakhouse in Spiceland.
Yeah.
Home of the Libertarian Party of Henry County's meetings and our conventions. We throw all kinds of business your way.
You know, it's funny because I don't work Sundays normally, and I know you guys have your meetings there. And it wasn't until one day I looked in the book, and I'm like, I wonder what Dakota's having here. You guys have been coming there for weeks, and I didn't even know.
Yep.
So
we generally try to go. We were blindly scheduled ourselves for Super Bowl Sunday.
That was a horrible mistake.
And I was setting up a Super Bowl party at my house that I'm having for a few close friends, and I was like, I already have a Facebook event that night. I need to text Dakota right now and let him know that we've made a tragic mistake because nobody is going to come.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
I don't know. We'll have quite a Super Bowl party.
Nobody's going to come to our thing. Yeah. We're being drowned out with everybody bitching about the Patriots.
That's how we could get more people to the Libertarian Party of Henry County's meetings. Just hold it whenever all these different things are going on and market it. Hey, Libertarian Super Bowl party.
It's very plausible. So the other big thing that happened this week is we made some decisions for the studio going forward and for the podcast as a whole. We've struggled with YouTube and Facebook interfacing and trying to get our videos up.
Yeah. It was a few weeks ago. Facebook was trying to do updates on helping their creators. It ended up not helping us at all because we missed about 3 weeks of downloading things to YouTube, they're up there now. But unfortunately, everybody had to wait because our little loophole that we'd always use to download the videos ended up going away. Now Facebook actually has made it easier, but during that time we kind of decided, you know what, in case this ever happens again, we need something that is going to continuously work for us.
We need to be in control instead of using a backdoor to get our video.
Zuckerberg is not going to control Boss Hog of Liberty.
So we've started a kind of phase 2 of the crowdfunding. This studio exists because of the tremendous donations by a number of people. That same link still exists for the Boss Hog of Liberty GoFundMe. So if you go to GoFundMe.com and look up Boss Hog of Liberty, we are raising money for a Mevo camera that we've actually already ordered. So please help us cover that cost. And then some additional sound equipment to try with some remote stuff because Dakota this week also traveled out to the Henry County Council meeting.
Yeah, it was kind of a deal that we struck between some of our donors, which We'll list a few names, a couple of thank yous here, but we basically struck up an agreement. I would go and cover the Henry County Council meeting as Boss Hog of Liberty, do the live stream and everything, and a group of people who are against the Memorial Park Board moving the Doughboy statue had a member of their group who was going to speak on behalf of them at the Henry County Council meeting. So they said, we'll donate money to your campaign to fund your Mevo camera, and you go and do this for us. Absolutely, no problem. Happy to do it. And went there, set up right next to the Courier-Times reporter, who also had a tripod with his camera. So I'm like, okay, well, this is where the media goes, and had my little $7 directional microphone hooked up to the iPhone. The iPhone has a horrible battery. And I took a 50-foot extension cord because I learned my lesson from the park board meeting, and there is nowhere to plug in there.
Not media friendly.
Yeah, absolutely nowhere.
Shame, Clay Morgan. Shame.
Yeah. So with the extension cord and my surge protector, I had about 56.5 feet to get power from anywhere. Surely that would be enough, right?
I tried to warn you.
Absolutely not. And then, so I had to wait until all of their usual business got finished, and they were making their county appointments and voting on them. And I was like, I'll start the live stream there. I started the live stream, and then come the comments, right? So I have people texting me, messaging me on Facebook. The comments are coming in on the live stream. We can't hear anything. Like, the audio is horrible. And it turns out my $7 directional microphone that I had bought off of Amazon
works in no directions.
Yes, it is absolutely horrible.
$7.
Yes. I don't even think it was worth that. I'm going to leave a very nasty review on the Amazon account.
You should just leave a link to the YouTube video.
Right.
Maybe you'll get some views off of it, too.
So I've got my eyes on a...
Good idea.
I'm always a marketer, Paul.
Absolutely.
I've got my eyes on a little recorder and speaker or microphone system for the iPhone that's actually made by Zoom, the people who make our side recorder. And it has very good reviews, but unfortunately it is not $7, and it is more of $107.
We need one of those long mics that you have to hold.
Yeah,
I
actually thought about that. I was like, you know what? I'll just get another tripod.
We're gonna be the full service house audio and video crew for Henry County government. Just gonna start moving in and assign ourselves media passes.
That almost might be worth paying for the boom mic, because having Chase Payton on camera while he's holding a boom mic over all the council members would be the greatest thing ever.
It's kind of running back and forth.
Yeah.
It's going to look like reality television.
Give me a media shirt.
So what you did record, and I wasn't expecting it, was County Councilman Richard Bauslog, or Dick Bauslog, announcing that after 40 years on the Henry County Council, he's not seeking re-election.
That's absolutely correct.
So that was some breaking news nobody saw coming.
He did. He made the announcement last night. Said, you know what? It's been a really good run. My wife and I want to enjoy retirement more. This has gotten really busy. I've enjoyed the experience, but he said he has to step down.
So that's the district that I live in. And
right.
4 years ago, I was the token opponent for Dick, and I'm seriously thinking about maybe giving it a legitimate shot this time.
Well,
no final decisions yet, but the trial balloon has been launched.
I think that it's my job as the county chairman to 100% try to convince you to do this.
We're thinking about it.
All right.
So we'll plant the seed. We don't have to make any decisions today, but it's entirely plausible that we may make some more news on the Boss Hog front.
Yeah. Speaking of your involvement in politics, you took a trip to the Statehouse this week.
I did. I got to have lunch with Representative Saunders on Tuesday with Purdue School of Agriculture group, PCARROT. I'm a delegate for them at the statewide level and then at the area level. So I went over to the Statehouse with 2 or 3 concerned advocates for agriculture and Purdue Extension on Tuesday with the Henry County group, and we met with Senator Lysing over at the State House, and then had talked with Representative Saunders about a few things. So yeah, we'll talk about some of the stuff going through the State House in a little while. But
we'll get down to it. But I did want to mention that Mr. Dan Webb,
yes, he
also went with you.
Yeah,
and for those of you who do not know, in Henry County, if you go to a rural school, such as Tri Junior Senior High School, Shenandoah,
Blue River, Knightstown. They've all got FFA programs.
All of those have huge FFA programs. I graduated from Tri High School. Part of this agriculture that they have is soil judging. So what you will do if you are a part of the soil judging team, which I proudly was for 2 years in high school.
This is the reason why Dakota Davis has a beard. I figured this out yesterday.
100% correct.
It's an immaculate beard, too, isn't it?
It is phenomenal.
Yep. Mr. Clay Morgan at MVP Barbershop trimmed it up today, and he did a fantastic job.
Please continue.
But anyway, part of soil judging, they go out into a field, and they take a backhoe, and they scoop out about a 6-foot hole, and if you are the soil judger, you will take a clipboard down there, and you will write down your comments of the different layers of soil, how you think that the soil would do growing crops, if you think that it needs to have field tile put in. You will document all of these things and write everything down, and then the judges will judge you and see how correct you were.
The way Dan makes it sound is you get some downtime at the end.
Yeah, and one of the very cool things about it, there are 2 very cool things about it. One, you get to carry a pocket knife. That is really
at a school function.
At a school function, you get to carry a pocket knife, and it's like this. It's like your lab testing, right? So you take a chunk of the dirt out with your pocket knife and run it in your fingers. Very professional. The second really cool thing about it is you all go to the Smith Building afterwards in Memorial Park, and basically for 3 hours, the rest of the school day, you're just all hanging out at Memorial Park, and it's awesome. So me and my mischievous friends decided that it would be really cool to throw rocks at ducks. You're a freshman in high school. It's a stupid boy thing. So
those poor ducks at Memorial Park. First they give them bread, then kids throw rocks at them.
Right. It's just a horrible situation to be a duck there. But anyway, I just happened to be walking back towards where the gravel was, and apparently I got into the line of fire for the rock throwing and got blasted.
It was an accident.
Yeah. I got blasted in the face by a rock and ended up having to get 2 little stitches on my cheek.
Is that the scar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the scar up there. It's
kidding. Right it's noticeable now.
It was a big deal.
We're gonna stop everything here.
We
just
need
take
to
a picture of Dakota.
This.
Okay.
This is the Dan Webb scar. This happened on his watch.
Make sure you show Mr. Dan Webb. Did you mention that I said something about him?
Yeah, we were.
Oh man,
we were speaking about the podcast on the ride over, and Dan's like, I have a Dakota Davis story. So yeah.
So he actually remembered.
He told the story to me. He remembers you very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
You
I'm
have a bit of a reputation,
I wonder if
sir.
I'm the only soil judger that has ever had to have stitches.
That ever had blood drawn, right?
He works with your mother, so he had to call her at work and have her leave and come by and take you to the hospital.
That is correct.
Did you cry at all?
I didn't cry. I took it like a man.
Real men cry.
Oh, there it is.
One thing he's taken as a man.
Real men
Getting a
cry.
rock in the face.
That's called toxic masculinity, if anybody didn't know.
Oh, man. So, do need to thank, just as we're talking here, Brant Spicer of Delaware County just sent in $25 to the GoFundMe.
That is
so
awesome.
we appreciate that very much. Also need to thank Rex Bell, Mary Logan, and Mark Orr.
And Ken Clark.
And Ken Clark for all of their contributions this week. So thank you guys very much for putting us a little bit closer to the mark on getting this stuff paid for. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And Mary Hersey as well. I missed her before, but I will give her a thank you as well on the podcast here because she kicked in some money as well.
She donated 3 months ago.
She donated 3 months ago, and Dakota gets the notifications, and I apparently overlooked it.
I totally missed it, and I think that we not only owe her a thank you, but also a sincere apology.
It's true. Yeah, and she's not on Facebook. She's she listens to us because of the Twitter, and she follows us when we retweet stuff.
Brilliant.
So yeah, you never know where people are going to come from. Of course, we're syndicated live on Indiana Talks Saturdays and Sundays at noon. You can listen to us on Indiana Talks on their network, and of course, you can stream us iTunes and wherever your favorite podcasts are sold. I suppose, right?
I just got a Twitter.
Did you?
Yeah, first time.
Really?
Sort of.
Might tweet you out
What's
tonight.
your Twitter handle? Chase at BHOL. Is it Sports Desk?
Yes. I think it's just at Chase Payton. I don't know. I still haven't really figured it out.
We're gonna make you in charge of the official Twitter handle for the show. This is the way it's gonna go down. All right, so Chase, now what we're talking to you.
Yes.
Super Bowl's coming up.
It is.
Are you gonna come to my party?
Probably.
All right.
Are you going?
I think so.
I'm going.
Well, I think we're going to go after.
If Dakota wasn't going to go,
I think so. I don't know.
Nobody else that Elect Better's offered. So
I'm pretty sure that we're stopping by the Elks first. If you're an Elks member, then whenever you watch the Super Bowl, this year we're going to be rooting for at the Elks party. Everybody's going to be rooting for the Eagles because we all hate the Patriots, right? So
here we are doing the sports update, and Dakota is stealing your thunder.
Yeah,
the guy that likes sports zero,
well,
taking your time.
I think that this is very important because if you go to the Elks and every time that the Eagles score a touchdown, everybody gets a shot of Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill.
Well,
nice.
Yeah. What's the offer down at Montgomery's?
I don't know if we can match that. Boone's Farm?
It might cost you like $18.
Yeah, right. That's pretty good. We'll have to come up with something.
Yep.
Yeah, you should make
take it away.
All right.
Every time the Patriots score, you got to charge everybody $5.
Everybody
You're gonna
gets
get the booze
$5.
going.
Anybody that claps when the Patriots scores pays $5 to the bartender.
That's right.
All right. Patriots and Eagles Patriots are there again. It seems like they're there every year. Like every year. They won last year.
There's been Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Tom Brady have represented the AFC every year for since about 2000.
Yeah.
Literally, I think the Ravens made it once, but that's pretty much been the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm sure people, want the Patriots to lose this year. I don't really care. I'm rooting for the Eagles. People hate the Patriots just because they're big Colts fans. I'm a Bears fan. Don't really care. I actually like Tom Brady. He's the best ever. You can't deny it. There's no denying that at this point.
He's microphone 3. We can turn that off now.
Bill Belichick's the best coach ever. So there's a couple reasons why I don't think the Patriots are going to win this year, though. All right, I've got them listed, so I won't even forget.
The reading of the reasons.
So, reason number 1, the Madden cover curse.
Who was on the cover this year?
Tom Brady was the cover this year.
Was he?
And almost every year, the person on the Madden cover, which is a football video game.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
Forget Dakota knows nothing about anything.
He had this look at it on his face, and he had no idea. So anyways, there's this football game.
See, John Madden was this guy that coached football forever.
Yes.
He won the Super Bowl.
I know who John Madden is just for the...
Well, he
still
only knew him as a
Caliendo.
commentator.
Yeah.
He didn't even know him as... Yeah, he knew him as Frank Caliendo. Right?
So anyways, people usually end up on this cover, have something terrible happen to them. Either they're injured or they just have a really bad year.
Or they turn into Peyton Hillis.
Yes. Well, this hasn't happened to Tom Brady yet. So I think this is when it's going to happen. It's going to happen in the Super Bowl. career-ending injury. I'm calling it right now.
Steve Young died.
Wow.
I mean, it's a bad curse.
Man.
All right, number 2,
If
the
Vince
Sports
Young's career ended.
Illustrated curse. I just learned about this one today.
Multiple curses.
Yes, 2 that I know of so far.
Does this go back to like Native American times? Are these Native American curses?
I think before that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
This is looking bad for Tom Brady all around.
Set
It's
in
an
stone.
Egyptian curse.
This is the most patriotic Super Bowl ever.
Is
Eagles
that part of the Ten
and
Commandments?
Patriots.
It is.
Oh.
I've read the Bible. So anyways, I've never heard of this one before today. Apparently, Sports Illustrated has picked them to win the Super Bowl multiple years. I think it was like 4 to 6, something like that, and they've only won it once.
Oh.
So that's a good sign. Another good sign
You
is
know the only 2 teams that have beaten the Patriots in the Super Bowl?
the Giants.
And?
Man, I can't think of the other one.
You really should. You really should, Bears fan.
The Bears?
The 85 Bears.
No, I wasn't born in 85.
85. That was 11 years before we were born.
That's your
I forgot I'm
legendary
like
team.
20 years older than you guys are.
Listen, the only thing I know about that team was they had the best defense ever.
And Robert Perry, the Fridge, man.
The Fridge? I have
Yeah.
his jersey.
He stole Walter Payton's touchdown.
That's true.
See,
He was
you know
really
this stuff.
upset about that.
Walter
Yeah.
Payton, noted IndyCar.
I didn't remember that they had played the Patriots that game.
Nobody did. they
Walter
didn't look the
Payton
same.
Man of the Year award.
That's right.
The most coveted award in the NFL.
Yep.
That along with the Ed Block Courage Award.
So,
Very good.
Hey,
reason number 3,
go on.
Nick Saban and Bill Belichick have never won a championship in the same year. I think the devil only has so much magic, and he's already spent it on Nick Saban this year. So, it's not going to happen. And,
I'm glad to
Wow.
know that the devil only has so much magic.
yeah.
I think that makes me feel pretty safe.
Anyways, the last one is the Alshon Jeffrey thing. Alshon Jeffrey was a wide receiver for the Chicago Bears for several years, and he was my favorite player for a long time. And then he left us this past year because we didn't want to sign him, which I was very upset over.
That's a pretty good reason to leave, though.
Yeah.
Where's Alshon Jeffrey play now?
He plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. But before he left, he made this promise to everybody that we are going to win the Super Bowl next year. And the Bears didn't listen to him. Let him go. And now he's in the Super Bowl. So
Was he
And he
saying
made the
that
promise.
had you signed me, we would win the Super Bowl?
he just...
He was saying whoever I'm with
Yes.
is going to win the Super
He never
Bowl.
specified who he would be with.
So here's a cool one for you. The head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles is Doug Peterson.
Yes.
He was a quarterback in the NFL. You remember Doug Peterson, probably, Paul. Doug played, he was a kind of a journeyman. He played a lot of different places. In 2000, he played for the Cleveland Browns, and he won against the New England Patriots, coached by Coach Bill Belichick in his first year with the Patriots. Belichick's been there so long that the guy that beat him at quarterback has now risen through the ranks of coaching, and he is the head coach of the team he's facing.
So, will all this matter? Probably not. New England's probably going to win if we're being realistic. But
So
I like to hope.
This is my question for you, Chase.
Yes.
And it is on the show notes that I prepared.
Okay.
I want to know, as a person who's uneducated in the world of football, I am seeing all kinds of stuff on my Facebook feed talking about how the games are rigged. I see all kinds of videos of the referees celebrating with Tom Brady. I see all these fake text messages between Tom Brady and the ref. Is it rigged?
I think it might be.
You really think so?
Possibly. I don't know.
It's tough, man. If there's any team the NFL hates, it's probably the Patriots. Like legitimately, like
Absolutely.
yeah, the league has
Absolutely.
penalized them. The Patriots have been caught cheating multiple ways with the videotaping and the soft footballs and all of these things. The NFL's probably not doing them any favors, but at the same time, they do get the whistles because it's like having LeBron James. It's like LeBron James now, or
LeBron
back in the day
James.
with Kobe, or the New York Knicks versus the Pacers. It's the same
Absolutely.
stuff where the absolute studs get the calls, and that's what happened at the end of the half. Where the Jags gave their game away.
While we were talking about football, I do want to talk about something that I heard on the Ben Shapiro show yesterday.
Oh.
So yesterday was the 24th, and this is what he had to say. He was talking about how basically the NFL just screwed itself. So we've seen all of the we've seen everything on Facebook about the players kneeling during the national anthem. and it's making everybody mad. NFL ratings are basically tanked right now. This is like the lowest year that they've had in forever. And apparently AMVETS, which is a veterans organization, decided that they were going to, it wasn't actually a video, it was just going to be a graphic that was going to play during the Super Bowl. It was just one picture that they were going to show for a few seconds, which, by the way, was going to cost AMVETS $30,000.
That's all?
Just for the just for a picture.
That's dirt cheap for Super Bowl advertising.
$30,000, which is reported by the Associated Press. But anyway, so AMVETS decided to make this graphic, which was the American flag. It had people standing with their hands over their hearts, and it said, "Please stand for the flag." Right? Which
Please stand.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. Please stand. Yeah, that's all it said.
That's all it said.
Hashtag,
Please stand.
Please stand. And the NFL decided to shut them down.
Said they don't want the controversy.
Yeah, they
it's
don't
not
want
worth
the
your $30,000.
So, which is just absolutely crazy to me. Basically, AMVETS just came back and said, you know what, that's fine. We wanted to make this statement because all of our members fought and many of them died for the players to have their rights for free speech, right?
Absolutely.
They made that statement, and I think that's something that we can all agree with. Yes, that's one of the pinnacle things about America. They said, however, we would like to reciprocate our feelings, and basically got shot down. And I think that I agree with Mr. Shapiro when he says that they really just screwed themselves over.
That is a lose-lose situation for the NFL, in my opinion.
I mean, so basically, you know, if I'm the NFL, basically any business, do I want to, would I rather piss off the customer,
right,
or would I rather piss off the employee?
Sure. And when all this kneeling started, if you recall, there were a very large chain of restaurants that sell a lot of buffalo wings decided to mute the TVs when the national anthem came on, just so that there wouldn't be any discussion about it. And of course, they got flack for that.
You can't comment either way. You're going to get yourself in trouble.
That's right.
Papa John isn't on the board of directors anymore because of what happened.
Absolutely.
With his commentary.
I don't think it's going to hurt him. I mean,
you don't?
At this point, like, all the people that are going to be offended by that aren't watching anyways.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, I don't agree with everything they're doing.
But I feel like
watch.
some people who maybe they were doing the NFL boycott during the season would be like, okay, well, all of my family has always gotten together. We've always cooked food and had a good time, drank beer, and watched the Super Bowl. And do you think that's and
all this does is rehashes it, brings it all back up again. Yeah.
And I mean, one thing that Cade Coker, another co-host on the show, brought up this week is that whether you agree or not with the protest that's going on, whether you agree with the protest, how they're doing it, anything, obviously it's being effective because we're still having conversation about it.
Well, ratings are down. I mean, there's a number of reasons that it has been somewhat effective, but I think the Super Bowl isn't a football game; it's an event.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't.
It's almost a holiday, basically.
Yeah, I literally have the Monday off as a corporate holiday.
Yeah.
I never dreamed that day would happen, but Monday is off for a number of reasons for us. But Monday, don't call me because I can stay out late Sunday night, and I'm not going to be selling rebar. So we'll get with you on Tuesday.
You guys are too young to remember. Do you guys remember the XFL?
I do, of course.
Yeah.
XFL.
Okay.
That's what.
Do you get the latest news?
One of our
they're
live
bringing it
Oh,
back.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
They're bringing it back.
It's
He's a
coming
sports
back.
guy. Might be bringing it up. We were talking about it all day today.
Actually,
Really?
it just popped up on our live stream here. Brantley Spicer just said, "Now we're getting the XFL back."
That's
I have
right.
no idea what the XFL is.
The XFL was the WWF's Vince McMahon, the owner of the wrestling league. He started a pro football league.
Oh, okay.
And they had 8 teams, and they had one season, and they were edgier. They were half owned by NBC. They didn't have the rules that protected quarterbacks. Nowhere close to, at this point in 2001, the NFL was a little bit protective, but at this point you can't touch somebody's head, right?
Yeah.
The hit that Rob Gronkowski had on him in the second quarter of the AFC Championship game
Would have been nothing.
was encouraged in the XFL.
Absolutely.
So Jeff Brom, the head coach of Purdue University, now he was a quarterback for one of those teams. He tweeted to McMahon today saying, "Hey man, I still got an arm. Let's go." 46 years old, and he was hurt for like half the season for the 1 year they existed because he got a concussion that was so bad.
Well, Vince McMahon plans to bring it back 2020, 8 teams, and without looking, who do you think they want to be the face of the XFL?
Oh, I got that one. Yeah, we'll let somebody else answer that one.
Oh, I have no idea.
Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns. Oh, Johnny Manziel.
There you go.
You got it.
Johnny Foosball.
So he'll have a year up in Canada? Maybe 2.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee says he wants a team. He wants to be an owner. He wants to be an owner in Indianapolis.
I just started listening to his podcast.
Cool.
It is really good.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do some work for them, too.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah, Barstool has done a hell of a job getting
They're
reach.
moving up, man.
Their videos, people that you wouldn't think are going to see their stuff, their content's getting shared all over the place. They're doing very well for themselves.
So, Paul, speaking about your work, you once, whenever we do these shows, we set them up in a Facebook Messenger group.
Mm-hmm.
You sent us a little bio about yourself. The first thing I noticed on that was that you said you worked for Disney.
Yeah. The year after I graduated, well, let's back up. When I was in high school, I played piano in our jazz band. And we got the opportunity my senior year to perform at Walt Disney World.
Oh.
Now, you can imagine 17 years old going to Walt Disney World with all your friends and stuff, and it was a dream.
Of course, at that time, you could drink at 16.
Yeah, it wasn't there were no alcohol laws back in 87 or 88, whatever it was.
That seems unreal to me.
But no, I thought it was just everybody that worked there were within a couple of years of our age, and I thought, man, what a great place to work. And several of us, I think half of our town ended up moving down there. And I worked for the Walt Disney Company for 5 years. It was a great job.
Really cool.
It's definitely for the young. Definitely for the young.
So what did you end up?
I worked at. Were you going to say what was my job?
Yes, exactly.
I worked for the Walt Disney Company in Epcot Center, and at World Showcase I was a boat pilot most of the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Crossing the not bringing people in, but you're bringing people across. So you'd go from Germany to China or something.
Lagoon. You got it. Yep. So it was actually Canada to France and Mexico to Germany.
There we go.
Very good.
Speaking of,
can you name all the pavilions?
Oh man, there's Mexico, the UK, the USA.
Oh, you got to do them in order.
Oh my God, I can't. I've been there 2 times in my life, Paul.
It's a great place.
It starts starting from the right hand side. I think there's China and Canada are the first couple, and then you get to the very top, and it's the USA, and the UK is right next to it. And then there's probably a Nordic country up there.
Norway.
Yeah, Norway.
Mexico, Norway, China, Germany,
Iceland
Italy,
has one. Does
Japan,
Iceland have one?
France, United Kingdom, and Canada.
Canada. Okay.
Oh man,
Morocco. I forgot Morocco.
There we go.
Paul Fabrick knows his stuff.
Is Morocco Europe or Africa, Dakota?
I'm going to say Africa.
Very good.
It's Northern Africa. Congratulations, you win nothing.
Man, that's a shame.
E for effort.
That is a shame.
That's right. It's like across the way from France, but it's Africa.
So we talked about your voiceover company, Paul, and doing all your stuff with Bob and Tom UFC, everything like that. But kind of connected to that, obviously you have a great radio voice. But on your I say that you're on the advisory board for the radio and broadcast division of the Newcastle Career Center.
Yeah, Mike York. Awesome guy. He runs 90.7 WKPW. He is the director for the radio and broadcast. He asked me a couple years ago to serve on the advisory board, and I didn't know what that meant, but I said, absolutely, I'd love to. And we get together a couple times a year. We have a meeting. We go over our agenda. We talk to the students, or he deals with the students on a daily basis.
Right.
And then he brings the agenda to us, if they want to enter any competitions, any equipment we need, what the curriculum should be, if there should be any changes. And, I was thrilled to be on the board, and even more thrilled because actually some of the work that I got from the Bob and Tom show came from one of the other members. Because on our board, it's Mike, myself, Brian Casey from Wolf Boom, Matt Pelser from not X103 anymore, it's Alt 103. Todd Violet from Alt 103, and Alan Johnson, who is he runs Bob and Tom's recording studio, the Static Shack.
Okay, cool. So a lot of
Where they
people
do
that have
their
guys
music
are-
recording.
Yeah. I mean, and Alan, he's a legend in the recording business in Central Indiana. He's recorded everybody, Kid Rock, the Eagles, you name
Wow.
it. And by far, I'm the youngest guy in the group. And so, after we get done our agenda and we have our dinner, it's sit and listen to stories, and it's just amazing. I just sit back and listen to these guys, talk about recording people and stories and just spending time with these people.
Yeah, I bet
these
that's
famous
awesome.
people and these musicians, and it's pretty incredible. And of course, Drew and I, we've have our connection there, and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing some work for the Bob and Tom show?" And I'm like,
Of course.
what the hell are you talking about? Why are you even asking me that? Put a script in front of me and give it to me,
Yeah.
And so, he sends me a couple sheets now and then. A lot of the work is for the Bob and Tom app. And whenever they go on vacation and they're doing the Best of the Bob and Tom show, it's a lot of that stuff.
So that's Paul Fabrick's voice that you hear. You're listening to the Best of the Bob and Tom
You're
show.
listening to the Best of the Bob and Tom show.
Oh,
Exactly.
there we go.
Of course, the
See,
Weird
I
Libertarians
listened-
community has a strong affiliation with the Bob and Tom show, and we thank our syndicator Chris Spangle very
Yes.
much for the resources.
But the advisory board for the career, let's be honest, guys, the Career Center is one of the best things this area has.
Absolutely.
They
That
have
would be
17 or 18 programs that are top shelf. They're second to none to any
Right.
others that I've read about.
And that was one of the pinnacles whenever I think it was episode 39 or 38 whenever we talked about the GOP's new platform and the State of the State address that Governor Holcomb did. And that was kind of one of the things that he brought up was trying to get more vocational training, more training for technical skills inside of schools all across the state. And, of course, here in Henry County, we have all of our students have the awesome opportunity to get involved with that. I went through it myself whenever I was in high school. I did the building trades program. So we actually, 2 years of high school, we went out and constructed homes, like nice homes. And we did everything from the ground up and had an open house at the end of the year. My teacher was lucky enough to set me up with a job shadow opportunity for a contractor in the electrical union. Everything that has built my life to where it is today came
Started with that.
from
Absolutely,
the vocational school.
And the kids in your program, they get a first-class radio station.
Oh, absolutely.
They program and operate a country and western radio station out of Knightstown.
Well, actually, 90.7 WKPW is a classic rock
Oh,
station.
really?
Now,
Oh, yeah.
it used to be. Mike changed the format several years ago, but they also have an internet-based country station. It doesn't have call signs, right? It's still WKPW. It's just on a different side of the board, if you will.
It's on the digital side.
Yeah, it's on the digital side, absolutely. But if you've never been over there, there is not a commercial radio station in this country that wouldn't salivate to walk into what he's done over there.
That's
As a matter
awesome.
of fact, next Thursday is the open house for the radio and broadcast. Just come in, check out the studio. It's near and dear to my heart anyway, but especially this year because my son's a senior and he's in radio and broadcast. I think he may follow in my footsteps. I don't know.
Is he looking at Ball State for the their program?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that's a wise
Them
move.
or Vincennes. I mean, that's the closest ties that the radio and broadcast has. But they have a phenomenal studio. It's unbelievable.
That's awesome.
Anything any kid could ever dream of over there.
So Dakota visited the our dear leader, Chris Spangle's home studio, and that's what this came from. If we let Dakota in there, I don't know what Audrey's going to do to him.
I'm telling you, you guys really should. And anybody out there watching, next Thursday, I think it's from 6 to 8, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check.
I don't know.
Go over
if
to
I go,
Knightstown.
we're really going to have to step up the GoFundMe game.
You got to go check it out.
We
Hey,
may
you might
have to-
talk to Mike. He might have some stuff laying around.
Yeah.
We may have to request a private tour.
hand-me-downs.
because
Absolutely.
We will be live on the air with Mark Rutherford, LPIN Secretary of State candidate, from
Nice.
7 to 9:30 or so on Thursday night.
Yep,
Thursday's
that's true.
recording night around these parts.
Oh, it is Thursday.
It
isn't
is. It is.
Sorry, I'm not trying to drag anybody.
That's
away.
all right. We're going to request a private tour. This is the way it's going to go down.
We'll send Chase out.
All right, I have to say two things. First, my sister texted and said, "Hey, you guys all look like lumberjacks." She's never watched the show before.
You wore the uniform.
Yeah. My brother, who just retired from the Marine Corps after 32 years a couple years ago, said, "Hey," from North Carolina. And buddy of mine, and I know you're a fan too because we were talking about it. We've kind of skipped it over on sports. I can't stand the New England Patriots. I'll make that proclamation right now because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
That's fine.
That's right. They're my girlfriend team. Being here since I was 10 years old, I became a Colts fan. But I lived in Buffalo, in New York, and Western New York and Northern New York. That's Bills country. And I watched them as a little boy lose 4 Super Bowls in a row.
So did I.
Hey, I
wasn't a little boy then.
I have a lot of respect for Bills fans. They're crazy.
Donnie Morrill is still probably watching from Florida, and he is the Bills fan of the Boss Hog Network. So all right, so we got that. How'd you get hooked up with the UFC? How'd that part come along?
I've been trying for years to get in with them. I got an audition a couple years ago, and just nailed it. I guess. I mean, they sent it out to I think it was 178 guys, and through a third party. And you can see, who's auditioning, and as the auditions drop off. And the first one was UFC 197, so that was 2.5 years ago. Actually, I think I'm coming up on 3 years.
Very cool.
And usually,
awesome.
The guys that do the UFC commercial. I'm not the only one, by the way. I mean, I think there's 4 of us. Some guys do the national spots. Some guys do media. Some guys do. I do a lot of FS1. As well as the Facebook, Twitter, foreign countries, as well as your satellite radio, Sirius XM, stuff like that. So
cool.
And you do this from a home studio as well, right?
Yeah,
You've got your own recorder at home.
Yeah,
and
this room is about 10 times bigger than my booth. I have a booth.
Yeah.
They email me the scripts, I record them, send them back, and lately the names have been getting a little difficult, so they have to put me in touch with the person, and sometimes I really can't understand what they're saying, so...
All right,
takes a lot of takes sometimes.
I also have down here that you are the CEO of PRCR Industries.
That's
and
right.
You are the inventor of the ages.
I don't know of the ages, but let me ask you guys something. How many times have you had an idea and a year, 2, 5, whatever years later? I know you guys are only like 12, right? How old are you? Well, you know what I'm saying.
So Chase and Dakota are both 22.
So you guys have an idea, and then years later you see someone, you're like, man, I thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a whole book of things like that, and everybody does. So my brothers and myself and my sister, so PRCR stands for Paul, Ron, Calvin, Rachel. So that's my brothers and sisters. And we're taking these things that we have thought of and filing for patents. See what shakes out in the end. I entered one at the, I'm drawing a blank, can't think of it. Entered the competition in
you were
in
telling
Muncie.
me about
that.
that.
And I got third place.
Ago.
It was
cool.
great.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, okay, it validated that I actually had an idea that didn't suck. It was actually a pretty good idea. So we'll move to the production phase whenever I get the patent, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see where it goes.
You've told me about a couple of these inventions of the thoughts that you've had just over the course of time that I've known you. You've been friends with my dad for a while, and some of them are like holy crap! How has no one thought of that yet?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm sure that there's probably a multitude of people that have thought about it.
But they
haven't.
As
soon as you start production, they're going to be like,
you got it. Absolutely.
Man.
And everybody's like that. I'm not the only one that has had this idea, but we're going to be the only ones
to take it to market.
One
of my favorite shows is Shark Tank. I watch that for hours.
We watch it religiously.
Yes,
so good.
It is.
I love Mark Cuban on that show.
Oh,
so
me
do
too.
I.
Yeah, he is by far the best one, I think.
I've become a Dallas Maverick fan
Except,
because of him.
So the Dallas Mavericks, Dakota, are a basketball team from.
Well, I know that. I know that
Because of Shark
only
Tank.
because of Shark Tank.
When I was a child, Dale Harris coached the Dallas Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
Now Rick Carlisle, former Indiana Pacers head coach. Anyway, Rick Carlisle's been around a few places. He also was he won a championship, I think, in Detroit. Anyway, Dakota, the government was shut down, and you're in charge.
The government was shut down. So,
for Micah Haynes' birthday, he said, "Thank you. You know me just right. You shut down the government."
Yeah, Micah Haynes is our libertarian friend from Vincennes, Indiana, Libertarian Party of whatever county that is out there. Who only God knows, honestly. But he said somebody was praying, and the government got shut down for his birthday.
Unfortunately, it didn't last. They didn't pray hard enough, and it's back open.
No, it didn't.
It's like when Tom Petty died, and then we prayed enough, and he came back to life for a couple hours, but then he died again. Our thoughts and prayers worked one time.
Is that what's going to happen February 8th?
I don't know. See, so basically what we have on here is the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell. He basically said that they were going to scheduled a vote on Monday. The government shut down on Sunday, so the government was only shut down for 69 hours. Can we...
Weird number.
But to send that to Chick over at Bob and Tom Show.
Yes.
He'll love it. Him and Josh Arnold will love it.
So basically, he came up with a plan Monday. They made the vote. He promised to try to reach an immigration deal with Chuck Schumer, which is the Senate Minority Leader. They are going to fund the government through February 8th. Now, Chuck Schumer basically has vowed and said that we are...
Amy Schumer's uncle, by the way.
He said we are not
kidding.
That's not true.
Not kidding.
Are you serious?
I swear to God, that is true.
No.
I'm looking that up.
Look it up right now. It is God's honest truth.
You have to look that up. Okay, but anyway, Chuck Schumer...
He must be so proud.
Chuck
Maybe
Schumer said...
she might be embarrassed by him, Paul.
He
did shut down a whole government.
Could be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he did.
She shut down a couple guys on Twitter.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dakota. Please continue.
So basically, Chuck Schumer said there's no way that the government's going to shut down. The American public does not like it whenever the government is shut down, obviously, and we didn't get anything out of it, which is kind of one of the things that I wanted to talk about with this is the Democrats had this plan, right? The government shutdown was leverage. If you don't give us what we want, then we're going to shut the government down. So a lot of times we've been seeing on Facebook all kinds of debates, right? So the Republicans are blaming the Democrats on Facebook are blaming the Republicans. The Democrats in the Senate, in the United States Senate, the Chuck Schumer, they're basically like, yeah, we shut the government down. Like, what are you going to do? That was their entire game plan. That was their leverage about trying to get funding to get DACA to be expanded, right? So they didn't get anything out of this. Like it ended up they ended up calling it. They had prospective hope is what they said came out of the government shutdown.
So basically, the Democrats are trying to tie the funding of the government to the specific issue of immigration. Correct. And what they call the dreamers and the people there have been here in their path to citizenship and a number of different immigration issues.
Yeah, close to 800,000 people are affected by the DACA issue, or there's about 800,000 dreamers across the nation. So dreamers, if you don't know, are actually children of illegal immigrants who either came here at a really young age or were born here in the United States. And the Obama administration ended up offering them sanctuary and said, you can get jobs here, you can work in the United States, you can become a productive citizen. And that was only for 2 years, which is why we're at the impasse that we are now.
So somebody we talk about quite a bit on the show is Representative Thomas Massey of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Through his official Facebook page, he released about a 13-minute video, and he literally says, "Hey, I'm going to go schoolhouse rock on you guys," and he draws out why the government got shut down, and basically it's because the Congress has just ignored their responsibilities. If they had passed these individual funding bills like they should have, starting about last September, you've got like 13 different bills that fund portions of the government, and instead they never get them done. They don't get passed. They might pass the House, but they won't pass the Senate or the other way around. So they don't get done, and then they just come up with what they call an omnibus, which is where they just roll them all in together, and we do these extensions. So then somebody gets to hold it hostage because you've got these tight numbers. So what he's saying is, hey, we could have probably passed about 8 of these things and gotten through, and then it's just going to look like Schumer's an absolute idiot because he's holding up the EPA funding and maybe 2 or 3 other things. Right. But instead, as much as you want to blame the Democrats for this thing, you also have to blame the Republicans as well for not pushing through the other issues.
It's totally a bipartisan issue because they didn't, whenever the Republicans in the Senate realized, hey, Chuck Schumer is going to be holding these things hostage and threatening government shutdown if we don't do something. That should have been okay. We need to come up with some kind of a bipartisan agreement so that the government doesn't get shut down.
Right.
Like we need to do our jobs. Like that is basically point A. Nobody did their jobs, and the government got shut down in effect of it. And speaking, we talked about Disney World earlier. Well, in Disneyland in Anaheim, California, there were about 30 dreamers who decided to hold a protest at Disneyland outside of one of the entrance gates. About 30 of them decided that they were going to block and chant and protest the government shutdown and try to get funding again. Which, as Ben Shapiro on Today's Show brought up, is...
He's going to start charging you to use his likeness.
I think so, and I hope so, because if I can use his name enough and he becomes aware of it, then maybe we'll get him in the 4th chair one day. Like that's the ultimate goal here. But basically, Ben was like, "This is actually quite ironic because Disneyland is surrounded by walls. You have to pay to get in, and you have to be accepted in through a rigorous screening process."
That's right.
I thought that was kind of funny. But
do they have the TSA working down there, or is it private security?
Yeah, see, I think that's private security. That's the...
I can tell you, when I worked there, it was pretty loose. I still have friends that work down there, and I've taken some trips down there. And even back in the 80s, because you have to keep in mind, I think it was... I was working there my first summer whenever Operation Desert Shield took off. Ooh. And then all of a sudden, there was security, and it was guys that you knew, but they were plain clothes and stuff like that. But the security there is, you would never know it's there. I mean, it's almost like the secrets. Well, if the Secret Service is there, but it's like the CIA. Yeah. Disney does.
They don't want to make you feel uncomfortable.
Is there anything?
It's
they
not
take
like
everybody in the world there. The last thing they need is some bad press.
It's like an Amazon Go store where they're watching, but you have no idea.
Absolutely.
Or it's not like the Russian spy ship that was halted off the coast. Yeah, that was the horrible spies, the Russians, I'd tell you. But okay, back to the government shutdown. So I guess that there was on Sunday night a bipartisan group of more than 20 senators met in the day and ended up going to Mr. Schumer and Mr. McConnell and giving them a bunch of ideas. That has been pretty secretive. There hasn't been a lot coming out about what they talked about in this meeting, what they ended up telling Mr. McConnell and Mr. Schumer. Nothing's really come out about it. All we know is that Chuck Schumer was very disappointed in how the public reacted to the government shutdown. But basically, it began on Saturday and it ended on Monday, and they're now funding the government through February 8th. But the deal to get it back up and running was that McConnell said that he is willing to work with legislators and try to prevent the deportation of undocumented immigrants. And that has been a huge goal for the Democrats through all their spending fight in this. So if an immigration deal, which would also include border security, according to Mr. McConnell, cannot be reached by February 8th, then he promised to take up the issue right after that.
Right after that.
Right, immediately after. Right after he gets his next extension.
We're going to get it. If we don't get it February 8th, we're going to get it sometime.
How often does the government shutdown like this happen?
Oh, my God.
It's been about 4 years since it happened last time. And this is probably the 3rd or 4th time since the mid-'90s. I know when Newt Gingrich was elected.
Oh, yeah.
It happened. The Democrats ran Congress except for a tiny bit of time in the 80s. They pretty much ran Congress through the 60s, 70s, 80s. And then in 1994, the Republicans had a wave and took over, and then since that time, it's been pretty well evenly balanced. Okay. But since the advent of the internet and Fox News and cable news, we've become so polarized that we just use this nuclear option crap on everything, and nothing gets done.
So I mean, if I had to guess what would end up coming about like this from this, because he's saying if it's not reached by February 8th, we'll take the issue right up after that. Well, so I honestly think that a lot of mainstream Democrats, a lot of the people in the media are kind of hoping that nothing happens and that Trump ends up deporting people, because they can end up painting Trump in the light that they want to of the evil monster that's deporting people, which would be bad. I mean, I agree that deporting people is not the way to go, and I don't think that that's right. But I think that they are wanting that to happen. We don't talk about government being corrupt a lot on this show.
We did last week.
We did a little bit last week, but we don't talk about it a lot, and that's because typically we cover local politics, and a large majority of the time your local politicians and state politicians are genuinely there to try to help things as best as what they can. However, that's just because, quite frankly, they don't get paid very much. And if they're there for the pay or to be corrupt, then they have really...
You've chosen poorly.
Yeah, you've not done a good job of setting your goals.
You picked the wrong
However,
job.
when we're talking about national politics, I think that both sides can be quite polarizing, quite corrupt, and I think that that's their end game, is to try to get Trump to start deporting people.
There's an incredible amount of money that flows through. The more money that you allow them to spend as a government, the more influence they have, and the more corruptible they become.
Yeah.
If you have if you're just worried about potholes and a couple of maybe some fire protection, all of a sudden the government's not all that popular. And you don't have the need.
Seems kind of boring.
I know.
Yeah,
that's our goal.
But so basically, talking about President Trump, I have on our document here, what is the latest from President Trump? What's he's been saying? So Trump didn't really come public with anything. He never did any public appearances on Sunday, but we do know that he has refused to negotiate with any of the Democrat concerns about immigration. Trump is definitely staying very firm in where he stands. He definitely still wants to keep his promise of building the border wall, which will cost $18 billion to fund. And he's also pushing Republicans in the Senate to change the rules. Why do we need 60 votes to pass legislation? And that's Trump's idea. He's wanting them to invoke the nuclear option, which would allow them to pass some long-term spending bills with a narrow majority.
That's what they used to confirm Neil Gorsuch, the new Supreme Court justice, the latest Supreme Court justice. The problem is that at some point you're not going to be in the majority anymore, and you want to have a little bit of power on that side as well.
Absolutely, it's what we've been saying as libertarians for a long time. That whenever Bush was president, the Republicans kept extending power because they were getting things that they wanted to be passed. The executive branch, with a signature of a pen, Republican legislation can be put into law without going through any of the lengthy process. Whenever the Democrats decided that they were going to have Obama in office, they did the exact same thing. So they started expanding executive branch power, and now we have Trump in office. And I think that scares a lot of people on the left and the right. So,
yeah.
And now we're wondering, why the heck does the executive branch have this much power?
Well, we'll continue to monitor it. So, on the state front,
yes,
the government's been humming along okay. We're in the SOAR session. We've been previewing it for a while, and it seems like darn near every issue coming out of the statehouse has been one of the libertarian issues that we've been talking about the last decade. We kind of previewed them. We talked about constitutional carry. We talked about medical marijuana or the CBD oil stuff that's been going through. We've been talking about either carry-out cold beer or Sunday sales.
I'm all for it.
Yes, please.
So I visited the Statehouse on Tuesday. We talked about that. And based upon my visit and the negotiations I had, the House passed the Sunday sales bill. Now, we didn't ask nicely enough, so they're not going to let us have cold beer yet, Chase. Maybe next year if we play our cards right. But we can buy warm beer
so you're
if
saying
the governor
I need
signs
to start selling more ice.
Yeah, we're going to have
Or just have all of the AC systems cranked up really high in the store. That room temperature is going to be about 38 degrees.
Well, the problem is when you do that is the entire store has to be that. You can't have a cold room. They don't say what room temperature is, but you can't have a special room. So you could have a store where it's 38
somebody
degrees.
will come up with something.
And then the government will cut you off at the knees 2 years later and change the law, and you're going to have a refrigerated store and staff wearing parkas. But theoretically, you can do it. So the House passed an identical measure to what the Senate did. So it's going to go to Governor Holcomb's desk. He'll sign it, and then starting July 1st, which is a Sunday, you'll be able to buy your cold beer.
That's awesome. My 21st birthday was on a Sunday, and I couldn't, it just dawned on me, I can't even buy beer on my 21st birthday.
You went to a bar. You did okay.
I did go to a bar.
I tried to buy you a drink.
I do recall that.
I tried to buy you a drink.
Your dad was
and you said, no, I'm hungover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what comes along with that bill being passed? What are we losing, or what do we have to put up with?
I don't think that they kept it pretty clean. There was talk that some of the alcohol groups are trying to include an additional $1 tax on beer carried out or those sorts of things. I don't think that happened, but we're trading off the deal was cut before it got to the House or the Senate, and basically they're deciding to protect each other. They're giving up just enough that we're going to back off.
Because I remember reading they were wanting folks to go into the fake ID
potential
market.
The ID thing, by the way, I just got my secure ID. That's another.
I saw that.
You get somebody in charge, and it turns into a nightmare. In 2005, they passed the secure ID deal, and it's just now by I think 2019 or 2020 as a Hoosier. If you don't get that stupid little gold star on your driver's license, you can't get on an airplane. So you have to take.
I don't even know if mine has one.
Look at your driver's license, see if it's on there. But you've got to go. You've got to go bring your birth certificate, your Social Security card, and I think 2 pieces of mail that show that you're a resident.
When did they start that?
I got it.
Yeah, you've got the gold star. All right.
I don't even have my wallet.
So you've got to have that on there, or else you've got to go. You got to go bring it in. And if you've been married or if you've had your name changed, you've got to bring documentation for every name change. So if somebody's on their 3rd or 4th husband, they've got to go find
Paul's got the gold star
and death certificates if the guy's died, or divorce decrees, or remarriage certificates. You've got to bring all of those documents together. Thank you, government, for keeping us safe.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So it's oppressive against women, really. The dudes are probably going to be more okay.
Yeah, right.
But So anyway, we've got that going on.
Now we can only buy cold beer on Sunday, or you can only buy beer on Sunday from the hours from noon to 8 p.m.
Noon to 8, yes.
Which almost sucks a lot because after midnight. Like, if you're still out partying, you know what I mean? Like, you're still
then
out.
You got to wait till noon.
Yeah. You got to go to church, sober up, and then come back out. Why. That's what it is. It's not interfere with the church crowd.
It's a small step.
Baby
that
steps.
Indiana has been
Indiana is the
for a long time.
only state that worries about the temperature of beer. And yet, on Sunday, you'll be able to buy cold cider, but you can't buy cold beer.
Right.
Because it's not... because it comes from a different part of the plant. I don't know. So yeah, then the state house passed 100% today out the CBD oil. Everybody voted for that one, so that one's probably going to make it through. They took out a year ago. They passed it in a very limited form for epilepsy only. There's going to be a state registry, and it was this onerous bill, and everybody just tipped their toe in the water. This time they said, okay, if it's 0.03 or less THC, which is still a very negligible number, they're just going to let it be uncontrolled. So you're not going to have to worry about whether it's stored in a store. You're not going to have a license. We're not going to barcode it and do all this crazy stuff. So there's also, there's industrial hemp that's been going through, which is a legitimate crop for farmers. The state of Kentucky is all over it. But I can tell you that from the conversations I had with some of with Senator Lysing, she's still very concerned that the federal government is not approving of this, and she thinks we have a chance to lose federal funding because we have federal overlords. I think it's probably an argument I'd be willing to go out in front for, but
that's kind of a crappy excuse, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Kentucky's doing it; they're getting out in front, and their ag community is going to benefit in a big way.
This. We're talking about the CBD oil. Somebody, Mandy Smith, watching on the live stream, just said that she just paid $50 to get on the registry. Like, so what's going to happen with that money? Is that going to be refunded, or do we know? I mean, I have no idea. I haven't read that much into it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the registry they were setting up too. That bill was passed, and the CBD oil became available July 1st if you were on the registry, and the state didn't have the infrastructure to actually put people on the registry yet. So I doubt you're getting your money back. That's a good question. One of those deals.
Mandy's actually my cousin, and her daughter. She suffers from seizures, and it's a big deal to her.
Yeah, it's a very big deal
to a lot of people.
So, and then hopefully they come to their senses, and they, actual medical marijuana and using other, cannabis products is something that the state house has, the House members, not the Senate, but the House has recommended it goes to a summer study committee. So that will come out hopefully with a positive result, and 2 to 3 years from now, we'll actually have medical cannabis available for cancer patients or anybody else that has a legitimate need for it.
I have some back pain.
Do you?
I do.
What's a legitimate need?
Well, that's the kind of thing they're going to study. That's the kind of thing they're going to study.
You know what I think we should classify the legitimate need as? I want it.
So California has an interesting situation with that, where if it's medical and you still have your medical card, they've also legalized recreational.
Right.
But if it's for medical reasons, it's not taxed. So if you have your card and you go through the dispensary, you don't pay taxes on it.
That's brilliant.
But if you just go and say, "Hey, I'm a tourist and I want it," then you pay the 20% regulation taxes.
Yeah.
So
I think that's awesome.
We are the outliers in this stuff. Ohio has it. Michigan, I think Michigan's looking at truly just legalizing. Vermont truly legalized it across the board this last week. It's coming.
Yeah.
So it's one of those deals.
It's kind of one of those things where Governor Holcomb in the State of the State said that 29 other states have done away with the sales tax whenever it comes to software. And he's like, and we really should catch up with that. I think Indiana has fallen behind on that front. I'm like, you know what else 29 other states have done?
We're going to get there.
Speaking of pot, did you know Taco Bell had fries now?
I did not.
I just found out. My mom just let me know that.
Your mom had an E.
Fun fact of the day.
There you go.
Yeah, so the larger theme, though, is that these are the issues that we've been talking about as libertarian candidates for a long time, and it's literally dominated the General Assembly. So these personal freedom issues, that the state's done a really good job of working on these on the economic things and reducing taxes and regulation, and now we're finally getting out of people's personal lives. So it's a big year and a lot to celebrate. Everything's not perfect. I think Jim Lucas has been working on the constitutional carry thing. There was a bit of a change. I still haven't. It's not passed yet, but there were 2 competing bills, and I think Representative Wesco, he had a bill and Lucas had a bill, and I think they wound up going with the version that Wesco had. Because the police, when you file for your little pink card that you carry around for your carry for permit on your gun, there are fees collected with that, and those fees are paying for body armor and other things that the police departments are using. So we're licensing constitutional right, and we're taking those dollars and we're filling a bucket with it, saying, hey, we got a few $1 million that comes from this revenue every year that we give to police officers. So they're saying, well, we can't take that away from them. Well, okay, sure, they probably ought to have that, and we got to find a place to pay for it.
Yeah,
but
I guess
probably not licensing.
I guess I never knew that's where that money came from.
Yeah, and some of it goes to the locals, and some of it goes to the state. But it's baby steps, making improvements.
So while you were at the State House, how many senators and how many representatives did you get signed up? I assume that you went with a clipboard that had a list and dates, so that you could sign everybody in there up to come on the show.
I'm a bit of a networker. We extended the invitation to Tom Saunders to come on. So we will try to get Tom on at some point on the show. Senator Lysing will have on. I did see Mike Kreider again. We talked for a minute at the event, and he said he had gone back and watched our YouTube video, so we appreciate that. Talked to some of the PR guys. A friend of mine, Brett Judy, he's from Greenfield originally and is the deputy press secretary for the Senate Republicans. There were a couple of pictures I posted, and I think from his Snapchat he posted one of a Jeremiah sighting. It's me talking with our delegation and to Senator Lysing. We're going to try to get Brett on, and then another fellow that works in the press pool over there as well. Did a little hobnobbing and promotion of the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. So we've got a lot of guests that are lined up that are exciting, and plenty of opportunities.
How'd I get on here? What's going on?
This was Dakota's week to book, and here you are.
Slow week.
It was my. I tried to get you on a couple weeks ago.
That's true.
The last time that it was
I had pneumonia for 6 weeks.
Yep, no, it was the last time that I had a week to book. I tried to get Paul, and then finally my week came up again, and I was like, first person I'm reaching out to.
Yep. So next week we do have Mark Rutherford scheduled. He's he serves on the Public Defenders Commission. He's an attorney. He's been the vice chairman of the LNCC, the Libertarian National Congressional Committee, or whatever. He's been the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Indiana, and he's announced last week that he's going to be seeking the nomination of the Libertarian Party of Indiana for Secretary of State, which is the most important race for the Libertarians, where if he has at least 2%, we have ballot access for the next 4 years.
That's our ballot access. If we get 10%, then we're actually included in the primary.
That's right. You become a major party at that point. So Mark is a very qualified candidate. Looking forward to meeting with him. And then the following week, Sean Rao agreed today. We're going to bring Sean Rao back, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. But I can guarantee
Liberty defender Sean Rao.
That's right.
He is actually our number one downloaded episode.
Still.
Yeah. Still, and that was a long time ago.
That was some time ago. So we're going to talk Sunday Seals with him, and probably a number of other things. So we are just about at the end of the programming here. So this is the time where we get to our final thoughts. Paul, is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to get into?
I think you guys covered more than I usually did.
We didn't.
No, you know what? I will say one thing. I've watched many of the podcasts. Like I said, I've been friends with your dad for years and your mom, and got to know you guys over the years. And I've watched a lot of podcasts. You guys don't see a tenth of this room. This room is amazing. You guys really need to do a panorama.
We need to do.
Or maybe, if you get enough GoFundMe money, you could get multiple cameras set up.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking, like how Bob and Tom does with a camera on everybody.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Do you like the Beats cans? The Beats cans up there? Because Jeremiah doesn't like them. I think they're kind of cool.
I think they're
I like them. I like everything in this room.
Well, Jeremiah's in the minority.
I'm used to being in the minority.
Nuclear option.
Yeah. A lot of these, Paul,
especially this Rick and Morty poster.
I love that
my
poster.
favorite.
A lot of these are gifts from guests. As candidates have been on the show, they come by and they leave signs, or their campaigns leave materials up here.
Well, I'll have to get you something from Montgomery Steakhouse, as well as my voiceover company, NPRCR.
We will find some places in the room for it.
You better believe it.
Now, I did see you guys are down some wall art at Montgomery's. There was somebody got a little close to the wall, and there was a disaster.
There was a little breakage. Yeah.
It was Bud Platinum, and nobody drank that anyway.
Yeah, they stopped drinking that about 3 years ago.
Oh, man, I would have loved that sign.
Well, the pieces are out back if you want to put them together.
Get some super glue. You got a full house, and you poor guys have to clean up glass.
I can be like Kevin from The Office trying to glue the turtle shell back together.
So how do people follow you if they want voiceover work, if they want to come to Montgomery's and support you, meet you, get autographs? What's the
Montgomery
story?
Steakhouse? You can go to Facebook, look up Montgomery's Steakhouse, 2 S's in the middle. Everybody always forgets that. I think it ends up sending you to John Michael Montgomery Steakhouse, which is closed now.
Has he played your place yet?
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact,
I was going to say, you've had some. Aaron Tippin,
had 38 special, John Michael Montgomery, Ty Herndon, Jamie O'Neill, Confederate Railroad.
I would have loved to be the Confederate Railroad. You guys don't know who Confederate Railroad is, but that was a hell of a group.
We fell again.
I think we're still on. Just
but no, everything's all those bands have been absolutely fantastic, and we have live entertainment every Saturday. As a matter of fact, this Saturday, if you guys want to come out, we have Wayland T. A local mainstay, Wayland T and the Honky Tonk Heroes.
I like it.
And the Honky Tonk Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. You told me that I should come by and watch them, but I've never even heard of them, to be honest with you.
How is that possible? Everybody has seen Wayland at one point. For me personally, on my voiceover business, it's basslinevoiceovers.com, BASS. Kind of like Bassline. I get that a lot. You Bassline? No, it's basslinevoiceovers.com. Same thing on Facebook. Or just friend me on Facebook. It's Paul Fabrick.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you very much for coming,
Hey, thanks,
Paul.
guys. I appreciate you having me.
This is an awesome time. Sports Desk, final thoughts over there, Mr. Payton.
Yeah, I saw a picture of you at the Statehouse.
Yes, sir.
You look really good.
Thank you.
Look very dapper.
I try.
And
he had on khaki slacks.
he did.
was
He
looking
looked
good.
nice.
Was he
I
wearing
like
flannel?
the jacket.
No flannel.
No
I
flannel?
No flannel
He
for
He
that
had
one.
a jacket.
I was told I had to wear flannel tonight, which is fine
It's the official.
because I don't
the
always
official
wear
attire
just
of
a
the
black
show.
shirt and jeans.
Yeah, I'm down to my high school jacket at this point.
It looked good.
wow.
I was impressed.
I'm gonna have to get a new one here pretty soon. So it's
Good for you, man.
We're getting.
Good for you.
We're down about 43, 44 pounds right now.
I also have a question because I haven't heard anything about this yet. Do you know if Rob Gronkowski is going to be back for the Super Bowl? Is he?
He joined practice this week.
Okay, so he's
Non-contact practice was the last.
okay.
So what do you think?
He's gonna
Yeah.
play.
You think
All
he's
right.
going to not play?
Cool.
Unless his stripper girlfriend gets him hurt or something, he'll probably play.
I don't even know what that means, but it was funny.
Have you seen him on Shark Tank?
I have not.
His brother was on Shark Tank one time.
Really?
Yeah, his brother's exactly what you think he is.
Yeah, there's
There's a
got-
bunch of them too.
They're Buffalo kids, by the way.
Yes, they are.
I like Rob as a guy. He's fine. I
hear
think he's entertaining.
really smart.
But yeah, he's an Arizona State party guy. But as long as he wears that Patriots helmet, I'm not on his side.
No, he plays the part. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it.
He's the knucklehead. All right, Chase. So at Chase Payton on the Twitter machine.
Yeah, I have like 4 followers at this point. I'm pretty
Yeah.
famous.
Chase is going to start running our official Boss Hog of Liberty Twitter, too.
Yes.
All
I
right.
saw a lot of people on Twitter I knew, and I was like, I don't want to add that. I don't want to follow.
I don't want to know those people. The hell with them.
You're worried about it in the
I
paper
kind of
tomorrow.
did the same thing of inviting people to like the Boss Hog of Liberty Facebook page. I pretty much invited everybody, but there was a couple people from like high school or earlier where I was like, I'm not sure I even want them to remember that I exist.
Yeah, if you're my Facebook friend, you get that's your gift from me. As soon as you become my Facebook friend, you get added.
It's your obligation.
Yeah, we have a brand to grow, and we're gonna definitely send you out for an invite instantaneously. I don't care who you are. So Dakota,
All right, I have a couple things written down here for final thoughts. Yes, yesterday afternoon, after I had a horrible blunder at the Henry County Council meeting, I did come home, ordered the Mevo camera. So the Mevo camera is going to actually be here on Monday. We're going to try to get it set up, see if we can do it on Thursday for the live stream. It's going to be awesome. It's going to add a lot of different features. With the new high-speed internet, it's going to stream some HD video out to Facebook, and also going to download a 4K HD that we can upload to YouTube. Do all kinds of editing features. It's going to be awesome. I do want to make the apology to the people who donated to the GoFundMe page for me to go to the county council meeting, because I failed you getting the horrible audio quality. I do apologize for that. I hope I made it up for the interview I did with Mr. James Thurston, who spoke on their behalf. He gave a little synopsis of the speech that he gave. You can find that on the Boss Hog of Liberty Facebook page or on the YouTube channel. And at the very end, there's a link to our interview with United States Senate candidate Andrew Horning. And then finally, one of the things I wanted to talk about was that Henry County has got over 60,000 residents. So 60,000 people live in our county.
50,000. I think it's 50,000 if we count the prison population.
I looked it up today, and it said that there was like 60,500.
Okay, I will believe you.
Okay, well,
What happened?
whatever. 50 to 60,000 people live in Henry County. There was like 45, 50 people at the county council meeting yesterday. The same goes for the city council meetings. It's a small room. There's not a lot of people that attend. But these are the people who have a direct effect over your lives if you live within the county or the city. They're the people who are making laws. They're making ordinances. they're also spending your tax dollars. They're allocating funds. I said at the beginning of the show, before we actually started the podcast, that one of the biggest things for the show, one of the biggest goals, is to try to get people more involved in local government, trying to get people to pay more attention to how things are ran, not just in Newcastle or Henry County, but just statewide, just to get people to start paying attention to what is going on. And I just want to make that plea. Just get involved somewhere. Just if anything else, just pay attention. Attend a meeting now and then. Look up who is your district representative, your ward representative on city council. Look those things up. Get to know the people. Social media is a great tool. You can look them up on Facebook. I'm sure a lot of them have Twitter. Follow those people. Pay attention to what they're doing, because it's impacting your life. That's all I got.
Well, very good, Dakota. Fun little thing going away from me. Tony Katz is a WIBC Indianapolis. The poor guy, he has to work about 6 hours a day doing radio. He's got a 3-hour stint, and then he does 2 or 3 more hours midday. They they don't hire hosts, so they just make Tony go and go and go. So I woke up the other morning, and he was talking about this we've talked about this Amazon HQ2 or whatever possibility. And he did a Facebook Live video at like 6 in the morning. I'm just barely waking up, and they're talking about it. So I've made some comment days ago, and I said, please don't sell out $5 billion in giveaways to get 50,000 jobs or whatever. And I let it go. He didn't talk about it. Didn't matter. It went by. Last night, some lady comments on me out of Indianapolis. I have no idea who she is, Cindy Downs. And she says the man with a good job, we have a family to feed too, right? So for the first time in my life, I've been employment shamed on Facebook for having a job and having an opinion.
Shame.
I've been employment shamed.
My belief is that Amazon has already made their decision. They just wanted to seem
The
more
publicity?
global,
Yeah.
and it's given every city, all 20 cities that they announced, it's a boost to their portfolio. They can say, hey, Amazon was looking at us. And if that's the worst thing that comes out of it, that's awesome.
We've had legislation
we got
introduced.
IKEA.
Yeah. We have had legislation introduced during this short session to try to get people to...
They're talking about trying to delete an embargo or a light rail, basically, was prohibited right now. They're talking about possibly taking that away so that they can make themselves more friendly to Amazon. And they're talking about trying to pass a hate crime bill, even though we don't... All crimes are hate crimes. They're talking about doing a hate crime bill in Indiana just to make us more tolerant.
All crimes are hate crime.
Talking about bathrooms?
No, this is hate crime. So this would be, if you beat up somebody
What's
that
a
falls
hate
into a box.
I hate you. I want to beat you up.
It's... I hate Chase because he's too tall, or Dakota because he's got that beard, or he's disfigured because of his
great beard.
his Dan Webb scar.
Believe it or not, I remember this beard when it was just a little chin strap.
Yeah. I did. I used to have a chin strap, and then one of my camp counselors was like, "You got the chin strap. Where's the helmet?" Well, that was stupid.
Dakota's been on Facebook so long that when I go back, in the We Are Libertarians group, we have the private chat that's always running, and it's just there's 4 years worth of bull crap that goes on in there, and we'll pick on each other. So we'll go back and look at old pictures, or we'll like a picture of Chase from 3 years ago or 4 years ago or whatever. Well, when I go back in time on somebody that's Dakota's age, they're their middle school pictures. And it's a weird code.
Right.
I still did it. I still took the pictures and screwed
still
around
made
with them.
fun of me.
Yeah, I did. But then you start to almost feel like
When
a
they go
bully.
back on a picture of you, it was 50 pounds ago.
Yeah,
right?
There's
Exactly.
yeah, we've had this little curve. In about 2010, I was about this
For
size,
me,
and then I
this
got
would
bigger
have been
again.
a little more brown, a little less white.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of you. I think you were on a cruise or something yesterday.
Yeah.
I was digging the glasses you had.
The
you
glasses
looked like
I
a
had?
guy from The Matrix.
Do I look like Neo, or do I look like Mr. Smith? Is it Mr. Smith?
I think it's Mr. Smith.
It's been a minute.
You look like a Neo.
Yeah.
Or
All right.
Neil. Or
Neo.
Neo.
Keanu
Okay.
Reeves.
Yeah.
I will take
I know
that all
who he
day
is.
long.
Not Lawrence
Yeah,
Fishburne.
you look like him.
Lawrence, yeah.
Wasn't Lawrence Fishburne?
No.
Do you know who Lawrence Fishburne is?
He doesn't know who Lawrence
No,
Fishburne is.
I know who that is.
He's the He's the black guy.
Careful. Hate crime.
Okay.
Hate crime.
He's the guy in charge.
He's the
Exactly.
guy
With all the pills.
He's the do you want the
Yes.
blue pill or the red pill? Yeah.
All right.
That's
Which
Lawrence
one would you
Fishburne.
have taken? The red or the blue?
The red.
You don't go for the ride.
No. That's not. I want to enjoy myself. All I'm
right.
saying is the world they wake up in is all machines. It just look.
He's Morpheus. He plays Morpheus in there. So anyway, all right.
There we go.
We appreciate everybody listening. Look us up on the Facebook. Give us a like. Give us a share. YouTube, I think we're at like 90 subscribers right now. Once we get to 100, I swear we're going to print business cards that I'm going to be an official person. So when I go to the State House and say, hey, look us up on here.
Yep.
I'm Jeremiah.
We have the fridge magnets.
I passed out a
I have
handful
2
of those.
on my fridge.
I'm stealing these, by the way.
Those are for the
There you
guests.
go.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Those,
All of them?
They're for you.
Are these
they're
all
they're
mine?
take
You
homes.
can take what
Well,
you
I
want.
wouldn't take them all. That's the whole supply.
I'll just take this one.
Take 4 or 5. I mean, if they go up
You
to
need
Montgomery
to-
Steakhouse,
yeah.
they'll be good advertising for the whole darn world.
There might be one up
you
there.
can take multiple of the ones in the little box there too.
All right. So at Jeremiah Morrill, if you want to hit me up, please help us out with the studio if you can. And I got the little trial balloon I launched earlier today. So if you're interested in that, give me a DM and we can talk about the possibilities of a county council run. We'll see y'all next week with Mr. Mark Rutherford.
Thank you for listening to the We're Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at We'reLibertarians.com.